everyone, it's Troy here from Complete Health Geelong. I've been asked a question on how to co-parent with a narcissist or an abusive person. So the first thing you have to remember is they got stuck at the age of a toddler. So they are going to try stuff with you. They're very predictable. We already know that they rage, that they want to get a reaction from you. That's all they want. They want validation. They want supply. So if you react, they're going to react. So unfortunately, it's up to you to be the bigger person. All the onus is on you. So we're going to we'll talk about this thing called grey rock. So if you have to work with a narcissist, you can't go no contact. The only way is grey rock. So the aim is to be as boring as a grey rock. No emotion, no nothing. So if you're easily triggered, you're easily manipulated. And that's how we know that narcissists work. So the aim is to not show any emotion. So when they are being good, because we know they put their mask on and they're good sometimes, and they play that game, and they do that so then they can hit you again. But this way, if you don't show them any emotion, they can't pick on any of those emotions to get at you. So treat them like a child. Just talk to them exactly the way you would with a child, except with no emotion. And eventually, they'll get bored. They'll find a shiny toy somewhere else. And use the fact that they are so predictable to, well, I won't say manipulate them, but just to make things easier. And they want you to fight back. That's all they want. So at the start, when you're trying this, they're going to ramp it up. They are going to try new things, try new tactics to get at you, and you just can't let it get to you. It's very hard for a codependent at the start to not want to fight back, to holding that resentment, to holding that anger. But that's where you have to look in yourself, and that's a good place to start and do some work, because that's part of maturing for yourself as well. So if you look at it that way, it's also a learning curve for you. And you will find that after sucking it up for a little while and not fighting back, not giving them the validation, they will actually calm right down with you. Because you can only fight with one person. If there's one boxer in the ring, well, you can't fight. So in the long run, it will pay off in that respect. Some more things to think about would be a court agreement. You want everything to go through the courts where possible, everything to go through the lawyers where possible, everything. The less contact you have with them, the better. And it's always good to keep a diary of every single incident. And I know there's apps you can get where you can send, if you have to text or do phone calls, they record them all. I'm not sure what they're called, but I know there definitely is them. Some of my clients have told me about them. But a court agreement, don't break it. Don't stoop to their level. If you know they're going to break it, they are 100%. They're going to say, come pick up the kids at this time, and they're not going to be there. They're going to cancel. They're going to do all this stuff. You already know that. So don't get angry when they do it, because that's what they want. Instead, write it down. Tell the relevant people, tell the lawyers, tell, here in Australia, it's like DHS, Department of Human Services, or Child Services, stuff like that. Don't call them and abuse them, because then you look crazy. Because then they can say, oh yeah, they're calling me and saying this and saying that. Because we already know they do that. They don't tell the full story. They just say that you're abusing them. They don't say that they haven't given you the kids at the drop-off point for the last 5 times in a row. They have been cancelling every time. They don't say any of that. They always like to admit certain things of the story, well, or make them up entirely. Another big part that I want you to think about. Now, this is one of the most important parts. Well, I think it's the most important part. Hopefully you've been doing your healing and you have matured a lot. And you don't need to do this petty stuff with the narcissist to and fro and all this type of thing. Parenting is supposed to be a 50-50 thing. So they've got 2 parents, loving, showing empathy, showing understanding, showing all these things. The trouble is they don't with a narcissist. The narcissist doesn't really care about them. We know that the narcissist only has kids for validation. They only have them so they're mini-me's. You know, you can see this when they dress them. You know, they'll be identical. They'll be wearing the same shoes, the same pants, the same tops as the parent. As a narcissist, they'll be little mini-me's. We know it all looks good on social media, and really they're being neglected in the home. To give your child or children the best chance at life, because it is already going to be harder for them, is if you're a good parent, and you have to unfortunately make up for some of the downfalls of being with a narcissist. So your 50% has to be bang on, because theirs is actually more than likely a negative 50%. So suck it up. Be an adult. Mature. You need to do this for your kids. Don't call the narcissist names around your kids. Don't badmouth them to your kids. Save all that for your therapist. Your kids are not your therapist. They are not there to regulate your emotions. That's narcissistic shit. They are not pawns for you to get back at them. If you do those things that I just mentioned, your kids will grow up with problems. Now, as a psychotherapist and a counsellor, you're never supposed to say certainties. You're supposed to say, this may happen, it may not happen. I'm telling you, this is a certainty. If you do these things to your kids, they will grow up with issues. Have you heard the sayings, mummy issues, daddy issues? They're issues for a reason. And doing this will give them to them. It will give them to them. So it's very important to remember your kids are not your sounding board. Do everything properly. Don't argue in front of the kids. If you can't help yourself to do this sort of stuff, if you haven't matured enough yet, and I'm not saying it's a bad thing. We all roses bloom at different stages. But if you can't control yourself around the narcissist, if you can't control them little digs that they give you, them little prods that they give you, them little backhanded, under their breath criticisms, if you can't handle that yet, don't see them. Organise another way. Do it through another meeting point. Do it through a social worker. Do everything through the books. A narcissist will also want you to do this sort of stuff, especially in front of a social worker. So they can say, see, they're the crazy one. So just go grey rock. No emotion. Be absolutely blank. And don't tell the narcissist you're doing that either, because then they'll know. And narcissists are really good with this stuff, and they'll just tie it on more. No, I hope you've been working on being assertive. So part of being codependent is people pleasing and not being able to be assertive. Again, I'll cover them in other videos. and boundaries. So you have to give assertive boundaries. Boundaries that, not like, well, unlike in the relationship, these can't be crossed. And they have consequences. So these boundaries don't just get moved and moved and moved and moved like they did in the relationship. You'll be sticking to these ones. Document absolutely everything in your diary. Absolutely everything. You need a paper trail. That's why if the narcissist does anything throughout the throughout the whole parenting thing until you can go no contact, report everything, even if it's small, because that way if something does happen down the track, they can be like, oh, look at all these dates, look at all these little incidents. It's just, getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And it looks better for you for later on if you do need to go for full custody or anything like that. Now, a lot of people are like, it's dangerous to, I don't want my kids to see the narcissist and all that sort of thing. I'm going to keep them away from the narcissist to have them safe. The narcissist does have a right to see them. Don't be one of those people that keeps their child from seeing the other parent. The child has a right to see their other parent. Don't get me wrong, if they're fully abusive and extremely toxic and doing all that sort of thing, then of course, do something about that, but the courts will decide that. But if you're not letting the kids see them just out of resentment and because you're scorned because they've cheated on you or done things to you, that's not on either. Now, if you're watching this video, you probably still do have some resentment and anger issues going on. So I thought I'd give you a little nugget to make all this easier for you. When you don't fight back with the narcissist, when you treat them as if they are insignificant, when you don't show any emotion to the narcissist, this kills them. They just want to be significant. It's one of their things. They want to see you getting angry. They want to see, look what I can do to this person. I can make them angry when I want. I can make them sad when I want. I can do all these things to this person when I want. I am God. So don't give them the satisfaction. If not being able to control yourself, if that's, for your kids' sake, and you're still living out of resentment and anger, well, do it for that. It will have the same side effect because you're still not showing emotion and everything. And then when they go, have a giggle to yourself because you're winning. Not showing them any emotion or anything like that kills them. It really does. So that's how you get back at them. Also by moving on, maturing, being a better you. It kills them. It's a handy byproduct for us. So I hope all this helps. Again, if you've got any questions, I'm always happy to answer questions. Please subscribe to the channel. Check out my Instagram and Facebook. There's a lot more information on there. And all the best.